Hello everybody, this is Lunaris Elron and I'm using a new microphone that I just bought recently. Well, arrived recently. I bought this quite some time ago, but there was a shipping problem and it only arrived recently. So even though I haven't done much of an anime impression or review, and even though that this season I don't really watch many anime, but I do watch a decent amount. And for some reason I delayed doing any impression or review because I got lazy and work got harder at my workplace. It's just very tiresome lately. Anyways, I want to talk about Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen because right now I'm downloading the newest episode, and I'm waiting for it to finish downloading because my internet is so slow. And to describe Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen is that imagine Durarara, but a more mature version of it. And has more violence and more murder and killing, but the overall tone is fairly similar to Durarara. Okay, let's start first with the art style. The art style is a fairly typical, more adult style of anime. The quality itself is so-so. There is nothing really exemplary or anything special. There is no special flair or special effect that is extraordinary, but at the same time it's not bad. It's not it's not mediocre, but it's definitely average. The art style is very average, but so far I have watched around 7 episodes of it, and I've been quite liking it so far. This kind of anime, I'm enjoying it. Despite that many anime this season I already drop it like a flies. But Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen, even though I'm enjoying it, but I don't have any delusion that this will be a very memorable anime in the long run. But as for something you watch weekly, it's very enjoyable. I usually watch it on Saturday afternoon. Usually on Saturday afternoon, I will get some good lunch because to reward myself after 5 days of hard work at my workplace, at the hospital. And it has it's a nice anime, and it's surprisingly exciting. Okay, basically the plot is just like Durarara, it has a central city instead of Ikebukuro. This place is this anime is located in Hakata, and for some reason, just like Ikebukuro, in this city there is a lot of hitmen, assassins, gangsters, yakuzas, something like that. And for some reason, there's so many underground scene where people are killing each other, and the main characters are a bunch of people doing shady jobs. The main character, the two protagonists themselves are, one of them are pretty professional, pretty high rank assassin, and another is like a newbie in the scene, relatively newbie, because when episode 1 started, the blonde protagonist has been working, but he is not really professional yet. So basically, if I want to say what genre is this anime, I say this is a gangster drama with some with comedy and humor, where it takes itself not too seriously. The atmosphere itself is very casual, with jazz, with, how should I say this, like, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It feels very chill, even though the characters are doing very horrible things, even though the violence are pretty egregious. how should it's like Durarara. Like in Durarara, if you like take away the atmosphere, the style of the anime, the style of the narrative, it will be a fairly dark anime. There is gangsterism, underground market, supernatural activities, and it even involves kids, high school kids. It is kind of it's not really a kid friendly story, but how it is portrayed in Durarara, it makes it like a fun adventure romp, a fun romp of adventure. So it is the same like in Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen. There in episode 1 itself, there is murder, there is slave market, there is framing another person for murder, many horrible stuff. But and to give Hakata a difference compared to Durarara, it is more serious because there is more drama in this anime compared to Durarara. But how the atmosphere itself does not really lend to that credence, and that is not a bad thing, because just because you have a horrible a dark story and a horrible stuff happening in your plot does not mean you have to portray it very negatively or in very dark manner. Like it is a style that I appreciate. It makes a much more enjoyable watching experience, because sometimes I don't really want to get too serious, and sometimes when people try to write things like this too seriously, it just become it doesn't become pleasant to watch. No, I mean like like I said, that this anime has a lot of assassination and murder. Sometimes like in some anime who tries to take themselves too seriously, they will depict this murder as so horrible, and they will try to project it in this very edgy and cringy manner. It just become very cringy to watch, and I don't like it. Not most of the time, not most of the time. But what I want to say, that the casual atmosphere enveloping this fairly serious and dark story is not really bad. Your mileage may vary. You might not like it that this story, that the fairly dark story is not treated seriously. But for me, it is serious enough. Just like I said, imagine Durarara but a little more seriously, and has a more violence. Yeah. And as for the characters, surprisingly, they are very likable. I really like all the characters. They have their own flaws, they have their own unique personality. Just like Durarara, it does not while it has focus on the two protagonists, but it has also many other characters that the story always revolves around. Like in Durarara, not to the level of Durarara though. In Durarara, there's so many characters that you can easily lose track of them. And wait, what is the story about this character again? Like, I think in the first 2-3 seasons it's okay, but I think in the later season of Durarara, it just become too complicated with too many gangs and bosses and crazy peoples to track. It just become harder to watch. But in Tonkotsu Ramen, there's enough likable characters with their own unique personality and unique circumstances. In fact, I also like some of the bad guy. In around episode 5, I think there is a rival character appear, and how they portray the rival character is not like your typical sometimes when a rival character appear, writer will portray him or her as very strong, very menacing, and very threatening to the protagonist. But I love how this rival protagonist is like an urban ninja. That's how I will describe him. This urban ninja is portrayed very flawed, even though he is very good at fighting and using swords and using and fighting in general, and he even beat the blonde protagonist. But he is flawed in a way that he can get very he has short temper, and he can lose his way very easily without his assistant to help him. And how should I say this, that how he is portrayed and how he has his own shortcoming makes him a fairly compelling character, even though he is a simple character but compelling as in it's fun. You want to watch more of him. You don't mind seeing him in later episodes. You don't have to have a complex personality, complex motivation. This character's motivation, this ninja's motivation is just like a blood knight. He just wants to fight stronger and stronger people, and that's it. He has his whole own set of rules, but he has a simple character, but how it was portrayed was very fun and very entertaining, and I want to watch more. I want to see him fight the stronger protagonist more. This is what some writer don't realize, that you don't have to be complex to be good. Simple is not really bad. It's how you execute it. It's how you use your tool. And what should I go more? In terms of sound design, it's not really that memorable. Yeah, I don't really have anything stellar to say about the background music or the sound design. The voice acting is okay, I guess. In terms of the world setting itself, I think it's a little ludicrous as how a single city can afford this many crimes and assassins without someone really cracking these activities. Even the police has many. How this anime portrayed the police is that it is also corrupted. Like this city shouldn't exist in Japan. That's what I want to say. Unlike Ikebukuro, where things are more how should I say this, hidden in underground. In Tonkotsu Ramen, for some reason there's plenty of assassins, plenty of people who are willing to do shady jobs. It's like an industry for some reason, and people still live in there. It's kind of ridiculous, but for a quick anime to watch, it serves its purpose. If you ignore the world build, if you ignore the world setting and just focus on the characters and the plot, it's still a very enjoyable watch. And I also want to take note on that the protagonist is actually a cross-dresser. He is kinda a trap, but he doesn't really look like your typical trap. Like, as in, he's still very masculine, but he cross-dresses all the time. Like, talking about traps, I really hate modern traps. Not really modern. I really don't like traps outside from memes for memes purpose, because traps are cheap. You just draw female characters and just say that is actually a dude. Like, one of the worst example is in early 2000. There is a I think I'm gonna talk about this in another video. I'm going off topic here. Anyways, conclusion for Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen. It's fun. It is fun anime to watch, but I don't think you should expect anything super memorable or super dramatic. Yeah. this is something I really recommend people to watch weekly instead of trying to marathon it. Even if you marathon it by arc. After one arc ended, you stop for a while and then watch another arc. Each arc is about 2 to 3 episodes. Anyways, I hope the sound quality of this video comes out nice, comparatively nice. And I'm gonna record a bunch of other stuff because next week I'm gonna go back to my parents' place for 1.5 weeks because of other stuff, so I cannot really record. I'm gonna record a bunch of stuff prior. Anyways, good night.